And joining us now, Jim DeFede, host of Facing South Florida. Jim, obviously the president has spoken before a joint session of Congress before. That happened last year, but this is going to be his first State of the Union address. What do you think the tone will be? How might that compare to what he said last year? And what are you expecting this evening?
Well, the question is, how much does he stay on script? You know, last year he stayed on script. His tone in that address ended up getting kind of harsh at times. So I'm not sure what to expect. Look, State of the Union addresses are usually like a laundry list. You go through your accomplishments, and then you also go through the things that you want to achieve in the upcoming year. So I would expect that he's going to try to strike a bipartisan tone, as has been leaked from the White House. I'm just not sure in this environment that you can do that.
Jim, I know that some members of Congress, mostly Democrats, are inviting dreamers to sit with them during the speech. I know Carlos Curbelo, who's a Republican, is inviting one. What message do you think they're trying to send by doing this?
Well, it's letting you know that they believe that the dreamer issue remains front and center for them. And that by bringing these young people into Congress during this historic speech, you know, it's another sign that the Democrats are saying this is an issue that must be addressed before we go much further. Carlos Curbelo is the only Republican who's bringing a member of one of the dreamers along there. And it's interesting, as a counterweight to that, you see that the First Lady will be sitting in her box with family members who had loved ones killed by MS-13. So you have both extremes in the debate on immigration sort of front and center, and it shows you just how divided we are.
And Jim Mullalenghi just mentioned, speaking of that divisiveness, that several Congress members and senators won't actually even be attending. They're going to be boycotting. One of them, Representative Frederica Wilson from right here in South Florida, she's going to have a watch party. So speak to that divisiveness. What does the president need to say? The White House has said that the message is going to be one of unity, but what does he need to say to actually get that point across?
I don't think that there's anything that the president could actually say that will unify the country at this point. The president will probably be speaking from a very prepared text, which will strike all the right tones, but then you just don't know what he's going to tweet an hour after the speech. So it's hard right now for the Democrats to trust what he's going to say in a way that makes them believe going forward they can actually accomplish things. Now, one of the things that's going to be talked about, as Mullalenghi mentioned, is infrastructure. Infrastructure is usually an area where everyone can agree on. Everyone likes to have spending in their districts, and $1.5, $1.7 trillion of infrastructure spending, you know, can heal a lot of wounds and solve a lot of those partisan divides. The question becomes, where are you going to get the money? When you already had a $1.5 trillion tax cut, and you're going to add $1.7 trillion in infrastructure spending, you know, you have to see that the result of that could be you start talking about entitlement reforms to welfare, Medicare, Medicaid. Those are touching points for the Democrats.
Well, we'll see what the president has to say tonight. Of course, you'll be here tonight to talk about the speech.
Healthcare. That's the one thing I wanted to just say briefly. Will he mention healthcare? I don't think he will, but it's a major issue, and it still needs to be fixed. I'm going to be watching for that word.
Okay, healthcare,
right,
there you go.
We'll be watching too. All right, Jim, thank you so much. We'll talk with you again later this evening at 7. And remember, you can watch the president's address live right here on CBS4. It begins at 9 o'clock. We'll also be streaming it live on our website, cbsmiami.com.